another offering from the Stand Up Talk Radio Network.
You must remember this, a kiss is still a kiss, a sigh is just a sigh. The fundamental things apply as time goes by.
Welcome back, everybody. It's the Sal's Comedy Hole podcast, episode 2, or maybe 1 if we delete the first episode. I'm here with my producer. My name is James Quinn. I'm here with my producer, Ari Mannis. Hey, Ari.
Hey, James. How's it going?
I'm pretty good. I listened back to the first podcast. How do you think I felt about it?
You discussed with me briefly that you were not happy with it and you'd like to re-record it.
I was not happy with me when I listened back to the podcast. I have no point of view, and it's apparent. I was just talking to Damar, not in a good way that you would enjoy, but in a boring, lame, terrible podcast sort of way.
That's fair enough. I think what you got to understand is the goal of this, you're going to be recording a lot of them.
Yeah.
And if you're picky about it, because you're going to be doing this every week.
Every week, every Tuesday. And today, well, let me tell you what happened today. Today I was thinking of redoing the first podcast and erasing the first one. And I made the mistake I made on the first podcast. I booked a black guy as my guest. And so he's fashionably late right now. But we're going to go right ahead. And if he shows up, he shows up. Damar Randy, by the way, was the guest. So you just want to remember he doesn't always show to appointments if you're out there in show business land.
Exactly. That's the problem with the blacks.
But it does give me... Did you just say that's the problem with the blacks?
Yeah, it was a joke.
Wow, It was a
joke. Racist, a little racial
very
material.
Very racist. I wouldn't ever say something.
I might
like
cut that out later. Probably won't though.
Don't cut it out.
Yeah, I
later.
won't.
So, Ari, you're a man of many hats. I appreciate that you have many hats. Let me tell you the frustration I'm going under. We're opening Sal's Comedy Hole.
That's right.
To pro shows.
That's right.
We have great comics coming up. We have Duncan Trussell. We have Ari Shafir. We have the Greg Wilson. We have Eleanor Kerrigan. Eleanor Kerrigan, who's fantastic every time I see her.
We have James Quinn.
Well, I'm not going to be on the shows, but
No, not how come?
not at first. Well, because
Right.
I'm a 3.5 year comic. That's not
Enough to get a chance opening.
Listen, chance 5 minutes, 8 minutes. Sure,
Yeah.
I'll do that. I'm not gonna put.
Yeah, I'm not saying headline. I'm
not
just
going
saying
to
be
put
on
these
it.
crowds through a 20-minute third-year comic experience. That's
Right.
always like a trip to the dentist. Nobody enjoys that, even the dentist.
Right. I'm just saying do a, work out in there. Do
We'll
5-10
drop
minutes.
you on some shows, my friend. We have a Monday night showcase coming for open mic comedians that get picked off the open mic. They get chosen by their hosts. They get thrown up on stage. They battle it out. And those guys, if they're good and they win that Monday night showcase, they get to open the pro shows.
It's really exciting.
Yeah, Friday, Saturday night, 10-minute set right before, you're right before Duncan Trussell. Enjoy. Have a good night.
I think that's what LA needs, especially Hollywood. Because we got the Comedy Store, which I'm not going to say anything about that.
It's
but
a
it's very
great
hard.
mic over
it's
there.
It's a great mic,
Yeah.
but it's very hard and very competitive.
Well, it should be hard. It's the premier club in Los Angeles. It should be hard to get into.
It should be very hard. I'm just
it
saying.
shouldn't be
we
easy
need
for
more,
an open micer
We need
to
more
crack
chances.
the code.
I'm just saying we need more chances.
Well, you need more
people.
stage time.
More stage time, and especially in LA, because in Burbank, Flappers does a pretty good job of giving new talent opportunities.
I went over there. I did the open mic at Flappers over there.
I wasn't a fan. The audition one.
Yeah, listen,
I've never done it, actually.
I had a great time, but it's an open mic.
Right.
I mean, they're just open mics. That's what we're
Right.
saying. That's what we do in Hollywood. We go from open mic to open mic, and we never actually prepare for the audience. And then when we see one, it's like the most amazing night of your life because I finally seen a real audience. Now I'm going to run over and have a great amount of fun, and then you suddenly realize you haven't prepared a lick for talking to real people. Half your jokes are to entertain comics that they're too dirty or they're too inside, and all of a sudden you realize I really only have 5 minutes for real, good, decent, honest folk that came out and paid for a show. I don't have 15 minutes to spiel on these people unless they're all comics, and then I can rant about how much I hate comedy and hate my life and hate my day job.
That's part of the reason why I do those Hooters shows every night. because you get real audiences.
Right. I'm intimidated by the Hooters shows.
You got to do it.
I'm intimidated, and I'll tell you why. Is I really want to do well on them because I heard that the funniest comic gets to fuck a waitress.
Oh man, I wish.
So
I did get a girl's number on Friday after my show. This girl came up to me.
A Hooters waitress?
No, just a girl, an audience member. Some very cute though, very cute.
Oh.
And
Asian? Was she Asian?
She was Mexican.
In this story, just for the purposes of me.
She was Asian.
Nice.
And she was a cute little Asian girl. And she came up, and she asked for my phone number.
Wow.
And so we're
out of the blue. She walked up to you and said, Ari, can I have your phone number?
First she said, I thought you were really funny. And I said, thank you. And she says, how long you been out? We had made some small talk. I'm not going to go over all the details.
That's how you get to know a girl, by the way, small talk.
That's right.
Good
and
job.
So I end up exchanging phone numbers with her.
Mm-hmm.
We're texting. It's really cute. I'm excited. I don't get a lot of girls' numbers,
Before we get too deep into the story, I'm married to a beautiful woman. You get that. Like, I can't run around enjoying what you're telling me, so you have to tell it nice and detailed if you're going to tell me. If this ends up into it being a sex story, you don't want to miss out a detail.
No, I've not had sex with her as of yet.
Okay.
And so we're texting back and forth, and I'm excited because I don't get a lot of girls' phone numbers. Turns out, though, she's in high school.
Wait, but how old are you?
I'm 23.
You're 23. So high school would mean that she's 18. Oh, well, that's not high school. That's just a retarded
She's a senior
person.
in high school.
You should be graduated by 18. You should graduate when you're 17.
If
your parents held you back in kindergarten, sure, maybe you can make a case for
it
being
all depends.
Mildly retarded.
Most people graduate when they're 18.
Most retards, most people on the 9-year track when they're in middle school,
Most people take 4 years to graduate high school, and they do it at 18. You graduate at 17 in 3 years?
I graduated at 17, and I was so smart I graduated at the end of the winter semester.
I graduated at 17 as well, but it's not because I'm smart. It's just because I was young for my grade.
My birthday was in January. And so they started me early in school. This is what I'm talking about with the boring podcast, Ari. You've set me onto a boring topic. We're now talking about what's the appropriate age to start elementary school, and I don't know what's wrong with you.
Well, now listeners are learning about you, and they're going to be with you every week. So these are the things they need to know.
We're getting, and this is a promise to the audience, we are getting big comedians on future podcasts. Big name, big, exciting, action-packed comedians that are going to have links to their site so you can come hear me on this fucking podcast.
I'm glad you're talking to our audience because we had 13 people listen to the first episode so far.
I'm embarrassed.
You thought it'd be more? You thought it'd be less?
No, I'm embarrassed that 13 people listened to the episode that I wanted to delete today by having DeMar Randy show up and do another podcast, and we were just going to pretend we'd never met before. Let's do another one, and boom, erase the first one. Right. But we can't do that now. There's no magic left in the podcast. Right.
We'll have to get them on a later episode.
And then podcast 2 from Sal's Comedy Hole, an amazing comedy club that's opening up here in Hollywood on Melrose. I feel like I'm wasting this amazing room. I feel like I'm filling space that should be, because now episode 2 sucks just as bad as episode 1.
Well, we're still very prematurely into it.
That's true. We have a lot of time to fill.
I will say, those 13 views, which doesn't sound like a lot, to me is a lot because we literally did not promote it to anyone. I just popped it up there.
Right.
So those are 13 genuine views with zero promotion. I didn't post it on Facebook, Twitter, neither did you. Nothing.
Nope. All right, so now let's think about it. Who possibly could have listened to the...
just people who are browsing standuptalk.com.
People that are browsing standuptalk.com.
And said, podcast section. Let me click there.
So me, that's one.
Yeah, and I listened to it once too. So it's really,
two.
It might be 11.
DeMar Randy, that's one.
Maybe. I didn't send it to DeMar.
So 9 people listen to or 10 people listen to our podcast that aren't me, you, or DeMar.
Right.
DeMar found it. DeMar's computer literate. This is my problem, Ari. What year is it?
2013.
Okay, because I go about my day as if it's 1991. I always do. Vanilla Ice in my world has not yet been on Saturday Night Live. Do you know what I'm saying? I go about my world as if my phone is a magical box, as if, listen, all I have to do, Ari, today is make a sandwich board to put out on Melrose to let people know that we have got great comics coming up March 8th and March 9th for our kickoff at this comedy club. I can't do that. I don't know how to do that because every step is let's attach some files and email FedEx and go down to Kinko's and then Kink goes, "Oh, we didn't get your email. The attached files didn't work." And then I go, "Well, should I bring in my laptop?" And they say, "Well, you probably should have thought of that already, you moron." That's what they say to me, Ari?
I say we got to go big or go home. Let's get a neon light board like all the other comedy clubs and put their names up.
Well, we're going to do that. It's all about little steps because we got to get a few people in the doors to know it's a comedy club before we start making all the amazing high-budget changes.
Right. That's fair.
And we're doing the right thing with the comics. We're bringing in skilled comedians to do full sets and really rock out audiences. But
how are you going to get the audiences?
Oh, we're going to get them.
I know you are, but
we're going to get them.
You don't want to share with listeners your secrets?
No, I don't want to share with listeners my secrets. I think there's... First of all, we've pledged here never to do a bringer show.
Good.
And I don't know if people at home, the 10 people that might be listening to this podcast, know what a bringer show is, but it's a cancer. A bringer show in stand-up comedy is when young, inexperienced comedians are told to bring their friends or they can't perform. And their friends show up and their friends have to pay $10 to get in, or $5 or whatever the stupid thing is. And I'm not going to say anyone's name because people produce these bringer shows and that's all they do. There's a lot of comedians around town that produce bringer shows and they're bad comedians, but they're good at organizing younger, less experienced comedians. There's only one good producer, by the way, of bringer shows because she does it at restaurants and different places, and that's Tammy Jo Deeren.
Don't know her.
Well, she's a wonderful, wonderful gal, but everyone else that I've run into in the bringer show producing people that don't do stand-up comedy might not realize this, but you have to do it to an audience. Yeah. Otherwise, it's remarkably unfulfilling.
Yes.
In order to do that, you have to pass at these comedy clubs. And every club takes only a handful of people. Am I right, Ari?
That's correct.
Every year, a handful of people might pass at these clubs because, there's only really realistically in the country a few thousand people performing comedy for money. There's 100,000 people trying to do comedy, but only a few thousand of them perform for money, and out of them, only a few hundred of those make real, honest, successful, wonderful livings, where you buy houses and new cars.
Right.
Not that that's a measure for success. Success comes from within. I'm sure you understand that being a Jew, that it's your soul, and it's how you feel, and it's whether or not you escape the trains.
Hey, if I could afford to live out of my aunt's garage in a studio, that's success to me. I've made it at that point.
Well, then you've made it, my friend.
Not yet, but I'm working on it.
We just had someone try to break into the comedy club. Did you see that?
I did.
Wow.
He's a big guy.
He's a big guy, big Mexican guy with a face tattoo. I like those people, the big Mexican guys with a face tattoo. But anyway, I was saying we have these bringer shows in Hollywood, and it's a cancer because
they're pure evil.
They're pure evil because what it does, it's twofold. It works in twofolds. First of all, it exploits these kids who have dreams of being comedians, but they're still 5-6 years away from having the talent to be able to pass at any club. So your first, second, and third year comics sign up for these bringer shows. You bring your friend, you bring your aunt, you bring your sister. When people come visit you from out of town, you book a bringer show on the same weekend so you can bring your whole family. It's cancer because what these people then do is sit through the worst show they've ever seen anywhere. The worst live experience because it's 10 bringers. It's 10 inexperienced comics all in one.
And that's their impression of comedy.
And that becomes their impression of comedy.
Right.
So the next time they see a comedy club marquee, they go,
I will say, though, just to go against you.
Please, go against me. I'd love to hear.
And I also hate bringers and think they should go away.
Okay.
But just to say they're positives, because even though, yes, when you're first starting comedy, you're not good at comedy, regardless.
Right. No matter how funny you are.
No matter how funny you are, when you first start, you will not be good.
Well, listen, Ari, when a 10-year-old picks up a guitar and starts strumming out those first few chords, you don't know they're going to grow up to be Eddie Van Halen. You just think they're a sucky kid at a sucky, this kid's trying to learn. But you also don't hate them.
Right.
Because they're a kid trying to learn something.
Right. And it's the same thing.
When a 22, 23-year-old person, or in my case, a very old person that should be dead soon anyway, picks up comedy for the first time, you're terrible. Right. The same way a 10-year-old picking up a guitar.
And I agree. But open mics, you can get better at the LA open mics.
Absolutely.
But
you can get better at any time on a microphone.
Bringer shows and book shows as a shitty comedian. Right. That is what's going to get you better faster. So yes, I hate bringers.
Yeah,
yes, they're evil.
You have to face an audience. You have to come up with a room. You can't do open mics all the time. Right. But the bringer show itself
is an evil idea.
Is killing
Yes.
comedy as a whole.
It is. I agree.
It's watering down comedy. It's ruining the experience. I want to relate to you a story at the Comedy Store, a club that I love, that I go there and I sit in the back area with the comedians and I watch great people, Louis C.K., Chris Rock. I've seen great people on that stage drop in and do a set. Bill Burr, I love Bill Burr. He drops in, does a set. When I watch him, I feel as if I've just learned something. I feel as if I go home renewed with new energy. I'm at the Comedy Store, and one of these bringer shows has booked the belly room upstairs. And, the Comedy Store has 3 stages, so they have room. And one of these bringer shows is doing the belly room, and I go up, and I literally watch people, and I was thinking, this is not the Comedy Store that I love.
Right.
This is downstairs is the Comedy Store that I love. This is just a room on Sunset Boulevard where a bunch of people are pulling each other's pricks.
And not only that, bringer shows are also bad because these producers only care about one thing, money. So because of that, it doesn't matter, even if some of those bringer comedians are good,
right? They
only care about how many people they bring. Also, because
you get cut from that's the other part of the lineup. If people don't show up and say your name at the door, and if you're listening to this podcast and you don't do comedy, that would be an amazing thing to me. But if you show up to do a bringer show and you're a comedian, and no audience shows up to say your name at the door, you don't go on.
And also, because they care about money, they'll book as many comedians as they
They'll
possibly
book 20.
can.
You'll sit through 20 people doing 5 minutes
so
each.
Even if the comedians were all great comedians, the audience is still going to hate it at the end because they sat there for way too long.
Great.
Listen to comedy.
You're not gonna find 20 great comedians.
I know. I was saying even if they were,
right,
it's way too much comedy for any normal civilian to sit through.
Right.
No one wants to sit there for 4 hours watching comedy.
Perfect comedy show stops at 2 hours. A little bit
that's
less.
An hour and a half.
That's even less. Perfect comedy show stops at an hour and a half. And what you tend to have is a nice, affable host that's funny and not too wild but good. You get a nice opener, a nice middle, and then a headliner that just crushes it. That's a great comedy show. But watching 15 people do 8 minutes apiece because they brought 2 friends because they work at a restaurant, it's just laughable. That's
excruciating.
That's the state that comedy is in all over Southern California. So, Sal's Comedy Hole, we've made a pledge not to do bringer shows.
It's good.
And I hope that...
What's the ticket price going to be of these shows?
Well, that's interesting, Ari. That's interesting. The Monday night showcases when we bring the...
No, for the...
hold on.
Okay.
This is a 2-part answer.
Okay.
The Monday night showcases when the comics do their 8-minute set against each other, they're picked off the open mics. Those are free.
Okay.
Those are no admission, again, because it would feel too much like a bringer.
Right.
If someone had to show up and pay. Do you see what I'm saying? Because they are open micers that are being picked to do 8-minute sets. That's sort of your way around a bringer show, Ari.
Yeah, no, they're great.
Look at that right there. I just solved Los Angeles' comedy
more
scene's
showcases.
cancer. More showcase shows.
Can I interrupt your second part with another question?
Yes.
So how are they going to decide who wins the showcase? Is it audience applause?
It'll be a mix of whoever's hosting the show saying who did the best job plus the audience's response.
Got it.
Someone can bring 50 people to a showcase show, and then what they're going to automatically win. No, they have to actually get laughs. Okay. But if you do bring 50 people, I'm going to be shocked if you don't get laughs because they're your friends and your coworkers. And I don't want people to bring 50 people thinking that I need to win. I want them to bring a couple people because, God, I sound like a bringer producer.
No, you're fine.
No, I want them to bring a couple people because they want to see them in the showcase. We still want people to walk in off the street because it's a free comedy show.
Right.
Not likely.
And now back to the original question.
Okay.
So how much are the ticket prices going to be of these, for example, the Ari Shaffir show?
Wow. Well, here's the thing. Those ticket prices are $10.
That's not bad.
That's
very
pretty
reasonable.
Good for a comedy club. And there's going to be 4 or 5 comics on it with the headlining comic with their picture on the sidewalk, their headshot. It's going to the reason I don't want to say the price.
Okay.
I have first Friday and Saturday night, March 8th and March 9th, are $10 admission.
Mm-hmm.
$8 if you pre-sale them. Our website will be up March 2nd. Because it's going to fluctuate.
Okay.
The money from the cover charge goes to the comics.
Right.
So if we get a really big name in here, they can set the price.
Got it.
How much would you like to charge? Fill in the blank. I'm not going to say someone's name. Say we got Bill Burr.
Right.
We love Bill Burr. Say Bill Burr was doing a night. How much would you like to charge? I don't know. 20 is good. But the $20 you spend here is going to Bill Burr.
Right.
We're a bar and a restaurant.
I get it.
We're going to sell you food. We're going to sell you drinks.
That makes sense.
Yeah, you're very businesslike, Ari. Let me tell the prices. I'm talking about passion. I'm talking about the cancer that is killing comedy and bringer shows. And I'm trying to bring new, live, wonderful shows here to Hollywood that people can fall in love with. And they can fall in love with an atmosphere and a place, a nice, intimate setting where we can see comedy and we can worship the elder giants of laughter, and we can think about all the great times we've had in life and how one of them happened in a room where we were forced to laugh by a person with more skill than we have at speaking.
You're right.
Ari,
my Jewiness got the best of me.
You ask me price.
Oh, man.
That is worthless.
It's like my name's Ari or something.
I am glad that you're here, though, because we have another thing to talk to you about, Ari. I was informed via the internet that you are the world record holder for skateboarding distance.
That is not true.
Wait, well, hold on. How far did you skateboard from?
The longest distance
Yeah,
I've ever done?
tell me about the big trip that I saw on the internet there.
Well, I've done a few, but first in 2010 I skated from Oregon to New York City.
Oregon to New York City with a backpack on your back?
Yeah, but that trip we had a car following us.
Oh, the car following, I'm not into it.
So that was almost 3,000 miles.
Right, and how
And then this
long
last
did it take?
summer, that took 23 days.
23 days. So you got in the car for some periods of time.
Yes, we did a relay style.
Oh, all right. Well, please, go ahead.
It was still hard.
Tell me more about your skateboarding.
So then my second trip this last summer was from Santa Cruz, California to San Diego, California.
Nice. And
that trip,
no
we
car.
had no car,
Wow.
30-pound backpacks, and that was almost 600 miles. Hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
600 miles on a skateboard with a 30-pound backpack, sleeping in tents, sometimes on a couch.
Sometimes on a couch surfer.
You're getting hassled by the fuzz every day because you're
every day
because you're on the highways there.
We were on the highways. We were on the side of the roads. People wondering what the hell we were doing.
Right. And the answer is setting a world record, motherfucker. And you flipped them off, and you threw the butts of your joints as you went. You threw them into the high grass on the side of the highway so you could cause a nice California forest fire.
We tried to be as respectful as possible, littering as minimal as possible.
Do you wear eco-friendly shoes when you?
I just wore normal Nike 6.0 skate shoes.
I'm impressed by this, and I'm going to tell you why. When I was a kid, I took a YMCA trip, and this is just for me and you, Ari.
Yeah.
The listeners at home, they can dream about their own athletic accomplishments. When I was a kid, 13 and 14, I took a YMCA trip across Canada on a 10-speed bicycle with a dozen other kids, and we stayed at KOAs, and we had all our tent strapped to our bikes, and
that's pretty cool.
It was amazing. And when I was done with it, I couldn't wear pants.
Why?
Because my calf muscles were bigger than my thigh muscles. I had amazing calf, and I still to this day, I can steal your girl if I'm in shorts. I honestly can. My calf muscles are amazing. They're not what they once were, which was bodybuilder-esque world champion calf muscles, but they were amazing. And I say that it's no small feat to drag a tent any distance of time and be on a non-automotive, how do you say that, automated mode of transportation.
Right.
It's no small feat. We did it across Canada. We started in Maine and we finished up in Seattle, but we were in Canada most of the time.
No, it was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Oregon to New York on a skateboard, though, is beyond the realm of my imagination.
And we're trying to plan another trip.
Right.
That'll go from Southern California to Georgia.
Right.
And we're trying to get a reality TV show.
See, that's where you lost me. I think doing it for the pure joy. Again,
I already did it for the pure joy.
You're all about money, buddy. Why do you have to get paid? Do it for the thrill.
I did it for the thrill. Now I'm in Hollywood,
want cameras
and I want to make it as a comedian.
All right, let's say okay.
That would help me.
You're on a skateboard, right? A reality camera crew is following you, and there's some producers, some girl who went to USC Film School, and she's the producer.
It's funny you say that, yeah.
She's dreaming of making some amazing film in the future, but right now she needs to pay her mortgage by being a reality TV producer.
Right.
And she's watching you skateboard, and it's getting a little boring because you do the same thing every episode.
Right. Different sceneries.
And so she pulls to your buddy. Let's give him a nickname. Weezer. Or
Damar.
Damar. He pulled Damar, the black skateboarder, totally unrealistic. And Damar, tell Ari that he's being racist, and then DeMar goes up to you and goes, you're being racist, and you go, what did I do, DeMar? I thought we were buds. I thought we were skateboarding across the country. And then she goes to you and she goes, listen, Ari, throw a drink in DeMar's face. And then so you take out your water bottle and you squeeze all over his face.
You watch too much Real World.
Well, that's what happens. This is what happens.
They're not
going to watch it.
Show.
Well, you're going to be on a magical outdoor channel where they
I'll
just show you skateboarding? No, you have to fight. You have to touch each other's...
I'll tell you the two ideas.
Okay, please.
The first one is for the Travel Channel. So we'd be stopping at beautiful scenery and restaurants along the whole way with our skateboards. So that's the pitch. It would be less about drama.
I wouldn't say a channel's name if they haven't committed, because maybe you want to be on Nat Geo. Maybe you want to be a Travel Channel.
Right. That's just, and no, they're not listening to this, but we're just pitching it to these networks. That's the idea for the first show. The second show would be, it is my job to take people on crazy adventures. My whole job in life, my career, is taking people on skateboard trips across the country. But the whole show would be based around the characters, and the whole time we'd be doing Jackass-esque stunts and shenanigans.
Jackass-like shenanigans.
Yes.
You'll be setting your nut hair on fire.
Exactly.
You'll be throwing
ridiculous comedians.
You'll be throwing a frisbee with nails in it at each other. Right. You'll be what else do they do on the jack? You'll be lighting fireworks in somebody's sleeping bag.
Or in this case, just super dangerous things on skateboards, pulling pranks on each other. And that one would be cool because I feel like it would help my comedy career more because they know I'm funny.
They know you're funny.
And then,
as opposed to this podcast where you just want to know about the prices of things and make
this
television
podcast
deals.
Is business, especially as a producer. I can't be too funny because I'm the one running all the gear, running around doing lots of things.
You haven't moved your hand in at least 30 minutes. I don't see how running all the gear can be your excuse for not being funny on the podcast.
Mentally, it's my excuse.
I do want to know though, and this is interesting about extreme sports people. First of all, it's all tied into marijuana. People that do extreme skydiving, people that do...
Disagree.
No, it is. It just is.
I don't think so.
Oh, tell me you don't smoke marijuana.
Not that. I'm not a pothead.
Well, no one is. I'm definitely not because I never smoke marijuana. But I'm telling you about extreme sports. It's always tied to marijuana use.
I don't agree, and I've been around it more than you.
And I've studied it extensively, and I wrote that book, Extreme Sports is Always Tied to Marijuana Use.
That's true. You did have
by
that
Dr.
book.
James Stanley Quinn.
You win.
I wrote that book to illustrate that, and even soccer players, like it's a huge subculture of just soccer and skydiving and skateboarding, and which is fine. I'm not putting you down. I'm just saying. I just want to know why you don't have a bitchin' gnarly attitude. Like, how are you still Mr. Business Jewish guy that runs my podcast when you're an extreme skateboarding jackass guy? Where's your voice, Ari?
You know, I have to be in the right mindset with the right people. When I'm sitting down in a chair with all this equipment with you,
right?
It's you're very boring, and I'm boring when I'm around you.
I'm bringing you down. Thank you, Ari.
No. I don't know. Yeah, it's if I'm around.
Okay, how about this? Every time I've not been talking to you, when is your bitching gnarly? You are talking about skateboarding long distances and doing stunts in between.
Overall, I'm a quiet, mellow guy.
Right.
I can be crazy. I've skateboarded across the country. I get up on stage and make people laugh.
Wait a second. Getting up on stage and making people laugh. You claim that once I've seen it, my friend. I'm teasing you, of course.
Come to my show tonight.
Ari never smiles when I make fun of his comedy. That's what we're supposed to do as two comics. We're supposed to make fun of each other incessantly until we hate each other.
Listen, I usually only walk a third of the crowd.
Right, well, that's good. That's
not even
two-thirds of the crowd that are still bored to tears.
2/3 of the crowd stays for the next comedian.
That's nice, because they're bringers and they haven't seen their friend yet.
No, I don't do bringers.
How is
Refuse.
How is it? Because I know you perform at Hooters. In a room above Hooters.
I did the Ballet Room on Saturday.
Right. No, I want to know specifically about Hooters.
Okay.
It's a room above a restaurant.
It is.
A small room. Right?
You really need to see it. It's pretty cool. It seats about 50 people.
Wow.
And on Fridays and Saturdays, we pack it out. The average audience is 20, 25 people.
Ah, okay.
15, 25.
I really have to see it. In relation to the room that we're sitting in.
It's about a third of the size.
Okay, I get it. That's a good room.
But there's a real stage.
Right.
Real mic. We have a curtain that closes it off from the rest of the restaurant.
Right. A restaurant curtain, of course.
A black curtain.
Now, when you're up there and people are enjoying chicken wings in Hooters and you're on the microphone and you say something untoward, can they hear you through the curtain?
No, because they're all downstairs.
So you go upstairs and a curtain. upstairs
Yes.
and a curtain.
Yes.
That's
So the people who are upstairs watching are specifically there for comedy. Now a lot of them still order wings because the waitress comes up, and that's how Hooters makes their money from it.
Do you know the when you're sitting in the bar at Hooters, do you know there used to be a rule that well, I'm just saying from perspective that the waitresses used to have to put their elbows on the table when they greeted people
Oh, just to show their
to give you a cleavage shot.
Yeah.
That was a rule. One of the sex discrimination lawsuits. Hooters eventually disbanded that rule, but they used to have to show up, put their elbows on the high bar table, lean in, and go, "Hey, how you doing, guys?" Or whatever their greet was. But the elbows was an important part of their greet, so that we could.
That's funny.
Yeah, it is funny.
The girls there are, for the most part, pretty attractive. A few of them have been in Playboy, so we like to look them up while we watch them serve.
Poor girls. They
get sexually harassed more than anyone I've seen.
Trying to find their way in life,
and they don't get paid more than normal waitress.
Appear naked in a magazine. Years since they stopped paying people to do that. They used to pay to do that. Now there's no magazine subscriptions anymore, so they really don't pay you. It's all self-promotion. Right. And then they go down to Hollywood Boulevard and they serve people spicy chicken feet, right? Spicy chicken legs. That's basically what it is. Spicy chicken legs for how much? 20% of a $5 tab. Just terrible.
Sure,
I feel terrible for. And listen, being a waiter, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, being a waiter that also then has to wear short shorts and
be sexually harassed all day.
I feel
it sounds horrible. Yeah.
I haven't eaten there in a long time. I've been married. That's part of it too. You never want to come home and say, "Hey, honey, I just was at Hooters and it was good. I had some wings." And everyone.
Well, here's your excuse.
Right.
I was performing there. I was doing stand-up. It's for my career.
I'm not going to go to Hooters. I'm not, and I wish you the best with the room. It's just I'm busy. I'm not going to be at Hooters. It's like if you ever ask me, "Are you going to be at a strip club?" And it's like, only in my imagination. Only because
I've
then
never
you have
been
to.
To one. I've never been to a strip club. Yeah.
Because then you have to come home and be like, "Hey, honey, the guys thought we'd go for so and so's bachelor party, and there's a bunch of naked girls."
So you're not coming because you're scared of the wife a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Not coming because I'm scared of my wife.
All right.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I don't want to come home and say, "Well, I was at Hooters performing comedy." I think there's a cheapness to it.
Oh, there is, for sure.
Okay, good.
You think my dream is to headline Hooters?
Listen, an audience is an audience.
That's why I do it.
You just described as an audience.
That's
but
why I
to
do it.
me,
Yeah.
I don't do well.
Better.
I don't do well with audiences anyway. So what do I care about the
Yeah.
Yeah. Ari, have I mentioned that everything in my life has been a complete failure? Even this podcast, even trying to put up the sandwich board today.
Well, the podcast is too new to call it a failure.
Okay. I'm going to try to put this the sandwich board up today, and I have substandard headshots, and I have just boring.
I could take new headshots for you.
Well, not my headshots. I'm talking the sandwich board for the famous comedians.
Got it.
I went down to Kinko's, and I
could get you high-res headshots of those comedians for you if you want them to.
Can you just email Kinko's for me with the attachments and boom?
That adds a whole another level of workload to the task.
I don't know why it's so tough for everyone just to say yes. Saying yes is the most important thing in life. Just say yes, like that Jim Carrey movie. Just fucking start saying yes when I say, "Hey, could you email Kinko's for me?" Instead, you said there's a whole workload.
Yeah,
we've been trying to get a painter to paint out in front of our restaurant.
You know who you should ask, and he'll probably say no. But Jesus, the comedian at the comedy store.
Jesus de Trejo?
Yeah, he's a good artist.
Did I say his name right?
I think so. Yeah.
He's an amazing artist, an exceptional artist.
He's pretty good. Yeah.
Well, hey, send him down.
All right.
You're his buddy, right?
I mean, we don't hang out, but when we see each other, we're friendly and
okay.
Shake hands
I'm gonna walk up to a personal, a complete stranger of mine, and I'm gonna say, "Hi, how are you? I heard you're good at painting. Do you want to come paint my restaurant?"
You're paying him, right?
No.
Oh, that does change things. Then.
Well, no, a bunch of free food.
Hey,
we'll buy the supplies. How about some stage time? And then maybe, if worse comes to worse, I'm going to have to pay someone.
Yeah, I think if you want it done right in the end, you'll most likely need to.
If you want it done right,
unless you find a really good up and coming comedian, that's about your only hope.
Part of the job here is looking for really good up and coming comedians. They don't have to be good artistically.
Yeah.
They don't have to be good artistically. They just have to be really good up and coming comedians. Well, Ari, I think I've exhausted a lot today. I think I've told you a little bit about myself.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot about you
Have you?
with the skateboarding.
Oh,
And
good.
did you have a bar mitzvah?
I did
You
when
did?
I was 12.
What is that like?
It's basically, see, I'm not religious.
Uh-huh.
For me,
I'm
it
not
was,
religious either. I had
For me, it was basically just a big giant party.
party,
where I got
but you had
money.
responsibilities. You had to learn that language.
Yeah, I had to learn a little, not the whole language. I had to
Mhm.
learn a little
the
prayer
speech.
and a speech
Uh-huh.
and do,
Right.
one of those bullshit ceremonies.
Were
and
your
then
parents still married at the time?
They still are now.
They still are now. Wow.
Yeah.
You talk about them so badly that I
They're still married. They argue a lot.
They argue
but,
a lot.
But they're married. They sleep in the same bed.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
really nice.
And
Way to brag about it, by the way. My parents are dead. So, I mean, just brag. The way you just bragged at me about your parents sleeping every night.
I live. I've had an okay life.
Oh, that's good. No, we were on bar mitzvahs because I had the Catholic version, which was the
What's it called?
confirmation.
Communion.
No,
yeah.
Communion is the Sunday when you get the host from the priest.
Got it.
The confirmation is when you're 14. They
Right.
make you go to like some after school program for Catholicism, where an hour a week or something, and you
Mhm.
learn. I don't know what you learn. You learn a bunch of stuff,
Right.
and then you go to a mass special for you, and you
Sounds
go,
very similar to a bar mitzvah.
yeah, and you should know because there's no party. There's no real crazy
so
party.
so it's the same thing without the cool party.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and I think that's how you guys make up for Christmas.
Maybe, but we have Hanukkah too.
Yeah, but that's not Christmas.
It's definitely not as good, but
Right.
but we do get presents, which as a child is the main part of Christmas, right?
Yeah,
There's a Christmas gathering and party which we don't have as nearly as cool of,
right.
but the presents as a kid.
So now,
Yeah.
religions. Listen, I don't want to start this podcast on a whole new topic, but I
Yeah.
do want to point out you're Jewish and
Yeah,
I'm
technically.
not, and so I'm always going to have these questions for you.
Yeah.
Argue, and I want to know. Around Christmas time, do you say Merry Christmas to people?
I do, because even though I'm Jewish, and I'm no doubt about that, just look at me, but I'm not religious at all. I didn't grow up religious.
Mhm.
My parents don't care. We don't celebrate the holidays. We don't do shit.
Jack, you don't do
Uh,
Jack. Mhm.
So I'm basically
Wow.
not a real Jew, but I mean I am.
Jews don't believe in heaven, right? It's just like you think.
I'm not sure what their belief is on that.
Wow.
I think they do. But
Well,
I don't know.
I bring this up because I texted everybody individually. I didn't do a mass text. Merry Christmas if I knew your
Uh-huh.
religious leanings,
right.
right?
Or happy
And then if
Hanukkah.
I didn't, it was Happy Holidays.
Oh, okay.
Because I wasn't going to say Happy Hanukkah. I didn't want to presume.
Right.
Like I didn't want to presume that's your thing, and then someone go, "Hey, I'm not Jewish. What are you doing?" And you're not Jewish. That would be the worst of both worlds when you're not Jewish, saying Happy Hanukkah to someone who is also not Jewish. They go, "What
Yeah.
do you think? What do you think's going on here?" So my Muslim friend, Tiff Myers, who I haven't seen in a long time, we waited in line at the Laugh Factory together, and we formed a deep emotional bond that's
Right.
never going to change. And I texted him, "Happy Holidays." But he doesn't even really have a holiday at that time of year. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Was that wrong of me?
No, because it's the politically correct, nice gesture.
Just because I have the day off, happy holidays. Well, I'm going to pat myself on the back for that one.
Yeah,
I
you're a
think
nice
that
guy.
I think I'm.
You
really
know,
nice
you have this tough exterior. You want to play this
Tough?
badass,
Who
this
thinks I'm
badass James
tough?
Quinn.
Uh-huh.
But on the inside, you're just a soft-hearted,
I-
really sensitive guy.
I defy you to find me 4 people that think I'm tough. That's ridiculous.
You try, you have that cold
I say
personality.
funny things about people's.
But
religion and
you are
sexuality.
quite sensitive. You're a sensitive man, and
I am a sensitive man.
I remember that one time you
Cried.
cried for me, and
Yeah.
we
Put
embraced
my
each
head
other,
on
and I
your
said it's
shoulder.
gonna be okay, James.
Yeah.
And that was a special moment.
It
I
was
think
a
we
special
really
moment.
grew as friends that point.
I
Yeah.
thought I think back on that now, and I think that was probably the best way to meet someone ever.
Yeah.
When I just walked up to you on the sidewalk and started crying on your shoulder.
Yeah.
But it was the day that I found out Charles Dorner had died. So
Yeah, that's fair.
I
We were all sad.
I was a little upset.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. That was our podcast from Sal's Comedy Hole. We have pro shows starting March 8th and 9th. If you come down and you say, "I heard it on the podcast," Should we do that?
Use the coupon code.
No coupon code. Come down, and while you're paying your thing, say, I heard Sal's Comedy Hole podcast. While you're paying your cover charge to the Sal's Comedy Hole, and we'll give you $2 off your admission price. How about that?
That's
March 8th
cool.
and March 9th to see Ari Shaffir, Duncan Trussell. March 9th, you're going to see the Greg Wilson. You're going to see Eleanor Kerrigan. You're going to see great comics. I have a line on special guests dropping in, and wow.
And you're going to see James Quinn doing something. If he's not on it, he'll be in the back helping out.
Did you just hear me say wow? I think you're passing over that. The flyers say with special guests for a reason.
Oh, got it. Okay.
And I
revealed the secrets.
I say, wow.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. We will see you next, whenever we do one of these.
Look up James Quinn on Facebook. Peace
And
out.
Ari Mannis on skateboarding.
The world will always welcome lovers as time goes